Welcome into Titans Today. I am Tom Downey. Today's show, we're taking a look at some early training camp winners and losers. We're about a week in after all. We'll start positive, then get to some of the negatives. First up on the losers list, not really ranked, by the way, just the order I'm going in for reasons. Calvin Ridley, and this is a good thing, by the way, for Tennessee. He has looked fantastic at Titans training camp. Now, it's worth mentioning that several of the Titans' top corners have been banged up and out of at least some of the practices, Snead, Awuzie, etc. So you would expect Ridley to be looking awesome. But he does. So he's at least checking off that box. And I think with what the Titans invested in him, acknowledging the A.J. Brown mistake, which was a mistake, the expectations are high for Ridley. He needs to be a true wide receiver one for Will Levis. I actually liked a lot of what Tennessee did this offseason. This is the time of year, we're in August now, to be hyped about this stuff. To drink the Kool-Aid at least a little bit. Maybe not enough to fully keel over, but at least enjoy it a little bit. So if you are hyped about Calvin Ridley, I want you guys to type me in the comments section. I want to see a bunch of me's on today's show. I have not forgotten, by the way, about the most comments shout-out challenge. Congrats to Ian Games. 99 comments, by the way, to make sure Time in the Buckeye did not win. That is I think a record here on Titans Today, or at least recent record. So appreciate that, Ian. Thank you very much. Next up on the winners list, how about Caleb Farley? With injuries to the cornerback room, young players like Caleb Farley are showcasing some ability. Had a pass breakup against DeAndre Hopkins. Had another pass breakup later. He's been impactful. Is he ever going to be the true, first-round caliber player that he very much was, despite the injury concerns? I don't know. He's had to play catch-up so much in his NFL career. He's kind of in a very awkward spot. He's barely played football, frankly, in 2022, in 2021. He went through all the worst stuff off the field imaginable last year that I think maybe getting back to football was just a return to normalcy for him. Tennessee is not banking on Caleb Farley starting. L'Jarius Snead, Chidobe Awuzie, Roger McCreary, those are supposed to be the guys. But some other corners we'll discuss here who have flashed as well. But if you can get contribution from Caleb Farley at this point, ignore the cost involved, that's a step in the right direction. So does he end up at least helping Tennessee? I'm not saying start, not saying become a superstar corner, but does he help the Titans? Y for yes, N for no. That is the pinned comment on today's show. So if the ad comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. Next up is Matthew Jackson, who had not one but 2 interceptions at training camp. That was on Tuesday, by the way, which I think is probably a good thing. You do want to see young players making impacts. I think there is room in the back end of that safety room for somebody to emerge, somebody to step up and carve out a role, especially with Jamal Adams. Management days back-to-back, I don't know if I believe that one. I'm going to asterisk that one, come back later in the week, but I want to see him continue to make plays, earn that roster spot. I almost could have gone with a bunch of corners. Eric Aurora's made some plays. Elijah Molden's made plays. Trey Avery, Judy Lowley's made plays. Jarvis Brownlee. But Trey Avery has been getting a lot of reps with the ones. That's a big deal. There is competition brewing in that cornerback room. So if Avery can kind of stabilize it and be at least a good backup, that's a big deal. Because I think we have to acknowledge this. There's a real possibility, at least one, of Chidobe Awuzie, given his own injury history and L'Jarius Snead's banged up knee, that at least one of those guys is going to be out for at least a game. So you better have some good quarterback depth. The cornerbacks being impactful, by the way, we'll come back to what that means for the quarterbacks here in a little bit. But first, today's show is made possible by Game Time. Thanks to their killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, their view from your seat feature, and of course the Game Time guarantee, they take the guesswork out of buying tickets to any event. MLB, NFL, college football coming up in the not-too-distant future, comedy, concerts, theater, and more. The Game Time guarantee means if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. The views from your seat kind of gives you like the live photo, panoramic view. You can move your phone around and actually see what the view from your seat looks like. It's a fantastic feature and pretty straightforward to use as well. You guys are also going to be able to get $20 off your first purchase. Download the Game Time app over at gametime.co. Redeem code CHATSPORTS, that's CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Now, terms apply, but again, create your account, redeem that code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. The link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show, plus the promo code. It's gametime.co with promo code CHATSPORTS. Let's go to tight end Josh Whyle. This is by no means a slight against Chig Okonkwo. I want to make that very, very clear. But Whyley's been good. The Bengals offense with Brian Callahan didn't use a lot of two tight end packages. Maybe you will. Whyley's a Cincinnati kid, so there is some semblance of minor connection, I suppose, to Brian Callahan there. I don't think he's going to surpass Okonkwo right now, but he is locked in that number 2 spot, and I think you feel pretty good about it. And I think, by the way, this is a NFL scheme theory, I'll call it. I think there is room to try to utilize more two tight end personnel in the NFL. It can adjust the numbers game on defense, and if your tight ends can both catch, that can be a matchup advantage for you. Now, I'm not saying they're going to suddenly become a two tight end based scheme and it's going to be Arthur Smith offense all over again, but I do think it gives you the option to utilize it more frequently. So I've liked what I've seen from Whyle so far. I want you guys to name a Titans training camp winner so far. Still early. Things can change. Drop that player name or names in the comments. It has not been perfect, but nor would we expect it to be, but I am going to go ahead and put the quarterbacks on here. And there's a couple different reasons why I'm putting Will Levis and Mason Rudolph and Malik Willis on here. By all accounts, they actually just look better than what they did this time last year, which would be a concern if it wasn't. But Willis looks more comfortable back there. Will Levis has drawn consistent praise from the coaching staff. And I have a theory. Again, it's just a theory. All three guys having some success. Does the head coach get credit for this? Is this the Brian Callahan boost and influence helping out the quarterbacks in a way the previous regime didn't? Maybe. Willis looks like he can at least be a backup for you, which at this point I think you're taking as a pretty big win there. Mason Rudolph wasn't here last year, so it's kind of a bit of almost cheating to include him, but he's been pretty accurate and steady and hasn't made a ton of mistakes either. There was a rough day on Tuesday. I thought they were better on Wednesday. It's all positive for me. You're not going to win every rep. You don't want them to win every rep. I think overall the defense probably has the slight advantage over the offense right now, which maybe isn't a huge surprise. But I think there's been enough flashes to at least not be panicking about the quarterback room. Now, for more Titans training camp news and updates and rumors and winners and losers and notes and takeaways and everything else in between, hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/Titans today. Let's talk losers. Some of these are kind of obvious. Arden Key. Come on, man. Facing a 6-game suspension from the NFL for PEDs. That was broken by Paul Kuharsky. Also reported by ESPN and others. Maybe an appeal, details, whatever, still to be figured out. But that's a big loss for Tennessee. Maybe they knew this was coming. That's why they added Shane Ray, who's fighting with Rashad Weaver and Jalen Harrell and Thomas Rush and Caleb Murphy to carve out that 2 for weeks 1 to 6, 3, 4, and maybe 5 on the edge depth chart there. Someone's got to emerge opposite Harold Landry, who missed some time with illness, but is back, by the way, at camp. Next up is Nicholas Petit-frere, and hopefully he is out there on Friday. That's kind of been the buzz, the goal for Tennessee. You need him out there. I have been unimpressed by the right side of the offensive line, which isn't a huge surprise. I feel good about the left side. You can put Latham on this winners list. I'm not going to argue too much. We've had 2 days of pads, so it's a little bit deceptive sometimes. But MPF missed invaluable time. Needs to be back out there soon. My hope is that when we revisit this list in a week and a half, 2 weeks, whatever, we got him on the winner's side because he's establishing himself as the starting right tackle in Tennessee. So name a Titans training camp loser so far. Drop that player name More names if you want to be a hater in the comments. Finally, I'll put Jeffery Simmons on here. Now, this is not because of much that happened on the field. There were some training camp scuffles on Tuesday. Brian Callahan did not like that. He made a point, hey, we're not going to do that. I don't like that. Stop it. And Simmons was at the focal point of it. There is a fine line between setting the tone and getting yourself in trouble with it. Like there's a balance there. And I don't think it's actually that big of a deal, but I do think, picking the fight with Buck Reesing and calling him names, whatever, when he's live on air, it's just not a good look. Like, whatever your issue is, just talk with him. He will talk with you. They all will. You can do it behind the scenes. Like, don't make that a story. Now, he's apologized for it. I think it's all water under the bridge. Everyone's fine. But that's not. You just don't want to see those headlines and viral moments on social media, whatever. Especially with the way social media is today. Just avoid all that and just dominate the way I know he's going to this upcoming season.